Admiral Park Hyun-woo stood in the command center of Earth's most secret facility. The room was buried deep beneath the mountains of Korea, hidden from the galaxy above. Banks of screens showed battles happening light years away. For 300 years, humans had watched the galaxy tear itself apart. The two great powers fought each other without end. The Confederation of Allied Worlds claimed they fought for freedom. The Hegemony Empire said they brought order. Both sides left nothing but death in their wake. Another battle starting near Kepler, reported Captain Lee Min-ho from his ship far in space. His vessel, the Silent Observer, was invisible to both warring fleets. "Looks like a big one, sir." Park watched the screens as hundreds of alien ships moved into position. The Confederation forces formed their usual neat lines. The hegemony ships spread out like hungry wolves. In minutes, they would start killing each other. Again. "How many ships?" Park asked. 800 Confederation vessels, 600 hegemony ships. There's also a civilian colony on the planet below. Park felt sick. He had watched this same scene play out thousands of times. The two fleets would fight. Ships would explode. The winners would claim victory, but both sides would be weaker. The civilians below would suffer or die. Director Kim So-jin walked up beside him. She was the head of Earth's spy network, the most secret organization humanity had ever created. For centuries, her people had watched, listened, and learned. "The Confederation is getting desperate," she said. "Our sources say they're losing this sector. The hegemony's new bioweapons are working." On the screen, the battle began. Energy beams crossed space like deadly lightning. Ships exploded in bright flowers of fire. The humans watched in silence as thousands of alien lives ended in seconds. "Status report from all observation posts," Park ordered. Reports came in from across the galaxy. Humanity had hidden listening posts near every major battle zone. They recorded everything: weapon types, ship designs, battle tactics, and the costs of war. Vega Sector, Confederation retreating after losing 60% of their fleet. Rigel System, Hegemony victory, but they lost their flagship. Centauri region. Both fleets destroyed each other. No survivors, Park nodded. Every battle made both sides weaker. Every victory was also a defeat. The galaxy was bleeding itself to death, and Earth was taking notes. Dr. Choi Yoon-ji worked in another part of the same underground base. Her laboratory was filled with alien technology that Earth's spies had collected over the years. Broken weapons, damaged computers, and pieces of destroyed ships lined the walls. Unlike the aliens, humans had not focused on energy weapons or force fields. Instead, they built kinetic weapons that fired metal at incredible speeds. They developed stealth technology that could hide entire fleets. Most importantly, they learned to fight in ways the galaxy had never seen. "The hegemony's new plasma cannons are impressive," Yoon-ji told her team, "but they use too much power. After 10 shots, their ships need to recharge for 5 minutes. Her assistant, Kang Subin, looked up from her computer. "What about their shields? Strong against energy weapons, weak against physical impacts. A simple metal rod moving fast enough would punch right through." This was humanity's advantage. While the aliens fought each other, humans studied them both. They learned every strength and every weakness. They prepared for the day when neutrality would no longer be enough. In another room, General Yoon Tae-hyun reviewed Earth's defenses. Hidden orbital platforms surrounded the solar system. Thousands of automated defense satellites waited in the asteroid belt. Every human ship was designed to be invisible and deadly. "How many ships do we have ready?" he asked Colonel Bae Young-soo. 2,000 combat vessels, all fully crewed and supplied. Another 5,000 automated drones. "The Ghost Fleet is ready to deploy on your command." "And ground forces?" "Every human settlement has defense capabilities. Our soldiers train in tactics the aliens have never seen." "We're ready, sir." President Han Ji-woo knew the real numbers. Earth had a population of 12 billion humans, all united under one government for the first time in history. The alien war had taught humanity a valuable lesson: work together or die alone. But Earth's greatest weapon was not ships or soldiers. It was information. Intelligence analyst Seo Dong-wook managed data from across the galaxy. He knew which Confederation generals were planning to surrender. He knew which hegemony admirals were stealing supplies. He knew the truth both sides tried to hide. The war was ending. Not because of victory, but because of exhaustion. Both great powers were running out of ships, soldiers, and worlds to fight over. Their economies were collapsing. Their people were tired of dying for causes they no longer believed in. Back on the Silent Observer, Captain Lee Min-ho watched the battle near Kepler reach its end. The hegemony had won, but their victory fleet was now half its original size. The Confederation survivors were fleeing toward the edge of the system. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, detecting a small ship breaking away from the Confederation fleet. "It's badly damaged." Lee studied his screens. The ship was falling behind the retreating fleet. Hegemony fighters were moving to intercept and destroy it. "It's a refugee transport," the officer continued, "packed with civilians. Their engines are failing." Lee made a decision that would change everything. "Prepare to jump to hyperspace. Plot a course for home, sir. We're supposed to observe, not interfere. That ship is going to end up in our solar system whether we help it or not. Better we know about it first." The refugee ship's navigation computer was damaged. As hegemony ships closed in, the transport made a blind jump to hyperspace. The jump was random, desperate, and completely uncontrolled. Admiral Park received the message an hour later. "Sir, Captain Lee reports a refugee ship heading our way. Estimated arrival in 6 hours." Park stared at the message. For 3 centuries, Earth had stayed hidden. They had watched the galaxy burn while keeping their own world safe. Now the war was coming to them. "Sound the alert," he ordered. "Recall all observation ships. Activate the defense grid. Contact the president." Director Kim So-jin was already moving. Her agents across the galaxy began activating emergency protocols. If Earth's secret was about to be revealed, they needed to be ready. In her laboratory, Dr. Choi Eun-ji looked at her weapons and wondered if they would be enough. The aliens had spent centuries perfecting the art of war. Humanity had spent centuries preparing to end it. The refugee ship tumbled through hyperspace toward Earth, carrying with it the hopes of a dying people and the end of humanity's isolation. The galaxy was about to discover that Earth had not been sleeping during the long war. They had been waiting. The refugee ship crashed on the dark side of Earth's moon with the force of a small earthquake. General Yoon Tae-hyun felt the impact sensor's trigger from his command post on Luna Base. Red lights flashed across the control room as his officers scrambled to respond. "Damage report," he barked. "The ship hit the Shackleton crater region. It's big, sir. Maybe 2 kilometers long. Sensors show it's still intact but heavily damaged. Life signs? Thousands, but they're getting weaker." Yoon had trained for this moment his entire career, but he never expected it to happen. For 300 years, no alien had set foot in Earth's solar system. Now a ship full of refugees lay dying on humanity's doorstep. President Han Ji-woo arrived at Luna Base within hours, taking a high-speed transport from Earth. She found General Yoon in the Situation Room, surrounded by screens showing the crashed ship. "Options?" she asked without greeting. "We can let them die and hope no one notices," Yoon said. "Or we can help them and risk exposing Earth to the galaxy." "What's Dr. Choi's assessment?" Scientist Kang Subin answered from her station. "The ship is Confederation design, but old. It's carrying mostly civilians, families, children, elderly. They're dying from injuries and life support failure." Han stared at the screens. The ship looked like a metal mountain crashed into the moon's surface. Inside were people who had lost everything, fleeing from a war they never asked to fight. "Prep a rescue team," she decided. "Full hazmat protocols. If we're going to break our isolation, we do it right." Dr. Choi Eun-ji led the first contact team. She wore an environmental suit designed to protect against alien diseases and weapons. Behind her came medical teams, engineers, and soldiers, all volunteers who knew they were making history. The refugee ship's hull had cracked open in several places. Eun-ji's team cut through twisted metal to reach the interior. The air inside was thin and filled with smoke from damaged systems. "My God," whispered Medical Officer Lim Do-eun as they entered. The main passenger compartment, thousands of alien beings filled the huge space. They came from dozens of different species. Some looked like giant insects, others like walking plants, and some defied easy description. All were injured, sick, or dying. A tall creature with 4 arms and compound eyes approached them. Despite obvious pain from a wounded leg, it moved with dignity. "I am Ambassador Thek 9 of the Confederation Diplomatic Corps," it said in accented but clear human language. "Are you the inhabitants of this world?" Yoon-ji activated her translator. Though the alien seemed to understand human speech, "I am Dr. Choi Eun-ji. We're here to help. You know our language? We've been listening for a long time." Medical Officer Lim immediately began treating the wounded. Her team had studied alien biology for years, preparing for this day. They administered universal pain relievers and worked to stabilize the most critically injured. Ambassador Thek-9 explained their situation as human medics worked around them. We fled from Kepler 442. The hegemony used their new weapon, a biological plague designed to kill all oxygen-breathing species. How many ships escaped? Hyunji asked. 12 transport ships carried survivors from a population of 50 million. The others, Thek-9's voice faded. The hegemony destroyed them as they tried to flee. The humans worked through the night, setting up emergency medical stations and temporary shelters. General Yoon's engineers sealed the ship's hull breaches and restored life support. For the first time in their history, humans and aliens worked side by side. But Medical Officer Lim made a disturbing discovery while treating the refugees.
Many showed signs of infection from the hegemony bioweapon, the same plague that had destroyed their homeworld. Dr. Choi, she called urgently.
You need to see this. Lim showed her the test results. The bioweapon was still active, carried in the refugees' bloodstream. Worse, it was adapting to Earth's atmosphere. It's designed to spread through air and water, Lim explained. The hegemony created it to terraform worlds for their own use after killing the original inhabitants. Can we stop it? I don't know. We'd need to study it more, but the refugees don't have much time. And if this spreads to Earth, Yoonji understood, the plague would kill every human on the planet. Ambassador Thek-9 overheard their conversation. Your people should not have helped us. We have brought death to your world. We couldn't let you die, Yoonji replied. But we need to know everything about this weapon. Over the following days, the refugees shared their knowledge. They told stories of the war that human intelligence had missed. Entire species wiped out, planets burned to ash, refugee fleets destroyed while fleeing to safety. The Confederation was losing badly. Their traditional tactics and honorable warfare meant nothing against the hegemony's bioweapons and brutal strategies. Worlds that had stood for thousands of years were falling in weeks. Why did the hegemony start this war? President Han asked during one of her visits to the moon base. Resources, Thek-9 answered. Their homeworld is dying. They need new planets, new species to serve them. The war is not about ideology, it's about survival. And the Confederation? We fight because we have no choice. Surrender means slavery or death. Intelligence analyst Seo Dong-wook had been monitoring galactic communications since the refugee ship arrived. 3 days after the crash, he detected something that made his blood run cold. Madam President, he reported, hegemony ships are coming. Long-range sensors show a task force heading for our solar system. They followed the refugee ship's trail. How long do we have? 18 hours. Han looked at the screen showing the recovering refugees. Children played in the makeshift shelters while their parents slowly healed from their wounds. For 3 days, these beings had experienced safety for the first time in months. Options? She asked General Yoon. We can try to hide them, but the hegemony will scan the entire system. We can't move them. Too many are still critical. Or we fight. Admiral Park Hyun-woo had arrived from Earth's command center. The hegemony doesn't know about our capabilities. They think we're primitives. We are primitives compared to them, Yoon pointed out. They've been fighting an interstellar war for 3 centuries. Against other galactic powers using galactic tactics, Park replied. They've never fought humans. President Han made the hardest decision of her life. Send a message to Earth Command. Activate Operation Sleeping Giant. After 300 years of preparation, it's time. As word spread through Earth's military networks, soldiers and spacers checked their weapons and ships. In hidden bases around the solar system, automated defense systems came online. Ghost ships that had never been detected prepared to reveal themselves. Ambassador Thek-9 watched the preparations with growing amazement. You have been planning for war? We've been planning for peace, Han replied. But sometimes peace requires war to protect it. The hegemony fleet is huge. They will demand surrender. Then they'll be disappointed. Medical Officer Lim worked frantically to develop a cure for the bioweapon. If humanity was going to fight, they needed to survive what the hegemony might throw at them. The refugees watched human preparations with wonder and growing hope. These strange beings who breathed the same air and shared similar biology were not running or hiding. They were preparing to fight an enemy that had conquered half the galaxy. As the hegemony task force approached Earth's solar system, They expected to find a primitive world sheltering Confederation refugees. Instead, they were about to encounter something the galaxy had never seen before: humanity at war. Fleet Commander Vox Prime studied the strange solar system through the view screen of his flagship. 8 planets orbited a yellow star, with the third world showing signs of a thriving civilization. His sensors detected billions of life forms on the surface. A hidden world, he mused to his second-in-command. How did the Confederation refugees find it? Blind luck, Commander. Their navigation systems were damaged. They jumped randomly and found this place. Vox Prime had commanded hegemony fleets for 50 years. He had conquered dozens of worlds and eliminated entire species that resisted the Empire's expansion. This would be another easy victory. Captain Oh Sung-jin stood on the bridge of Earth's primary orbital defense station. Hidden among the asteroids, his platform contained enough firepower to level a small moon. Around him, his crew waited for orders they had drilled for their entire careers. Hegemony ships dropping out of hyperspace, his sensor officer reported. Count is
47 vessels.
Battleships, cruisers, and support craft. Signal strength? They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Standard hegemony surrender demand, sir. Oh opened the channel and heard Vox Prime's voice for the first time. The alien's words were translated by computers that had studied galactic languages for centuries. Inhabitants of the Third World, Vox Prime announced. I am Fleet Commander Vox Prime of the Hegemony Empire. You are harboring enemies of the state. Surrender the Confederation refugees immediately, or face destruction. Oh looked at his communications officer. Send our reply. The message went out on the same frequency, reaching every ship in the Hegemony fleet. President Han Ji-woo's voice carried clearly across space. Commander Vox Prime, this is President Han Ji-woo of Earth. The beings you call refugees are now under our protection. We reject your demand and order you to leave our solar system immediately. Vox Prime laughed. The sound was harsh and grating to human ears. You dare give me orders? Your world cannot even reach the stars without primitive chemical rockets. I give you 24 hours to reconsider. The answer is no. Then you will be destroyed. I will return in 1 day with your final answer. The Hegemony fleet moved to the edge of the solar system and waited. Vox Prime was confident but not foolish. He ordered full scans of the system, looking for hidden defenses or weapons. On Earth, President Han called an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. Leaders from every continent gathered in the secure bunker beneath Geneva. The room had been built specifically for this day. Status report, Han requested. Admiral Park Hyun-woo stood before the massive tactical display. All defense platforms are active and hidden. The Ghost Fleet is deployed and ready. Ground forces are at maximum alert. What about the bioweapon? Medical Officer Lim Da-eun spoke from her station. We have a working treatment, but not a cure. If they deploy their plague weapon, we can slow its effects but not stop them completely. Intelligence analyst Seo Dong-wook had been monitoring galactic communications since the Hegemony arrived. Sir, their scans are more advanced than we expected. They're detecting some of our hidden facilities. Let them, Director Kim So-jin said calmly. They're seeing what we want them to see. For 3 centuries, humanity had prepared for this moment. Every secret base, every hidden weapon, every piece of technology had been designed with one goal: to survive first contact with galactic civilization. But Earth had another advantage the aliens didn't know about. Dr. Choi Yoon-ji worked in her laboratory, putting the finishing touches on humanity's most secret weapon. The computer virus is ready, she announced. It's designed specifically to target hegemony ship systems. Once we inject it into their network, their own ships will turn against them. How do we deliver it? Asked General Yoon, close contact. We need one of our ships to get near their flagship and upload the virus directly. Captain Lee Min-ho volunteered immediately. His ship, the Silent Observer, was the most advanced stealth vessel in Earth's fleet. I can get close enough without them detecting me. 24 hours passed. Vox Prime returned to Earth orbit with his entire fleet. He expected to find a frightened population ready to surrender. Instead, he received the same message as before. This is President Han. Our answer remains no. Leave our system or face the consequences. You have made your choice, Vox Prime replied. Begin orbital bombardment. Destroy their cities until they surrender. The Hegemony fleet moved into attack formation. Energy weapons charged and missile tubes loaded. Across Earth, billions of people watched their skies and waited. The first plasma bolt streaked toward Earth's surface, aimed at major population centers. They struck invisible barriers and exploded harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. What? Vox Prime stared at his sensors. Impossible. Their shields are stronger than ours. Captain O smiled from his hidden command center. Fire all batteries. Show them what Earth can do. Kinetic projectiles launched from concealed positions throughout the solar system. Metal rods moving at incredible speed struck hegemony ships before their sensors could track the incoming fire. 3 enemy vessels exploded instantly. Where did those shots come from? Vox Prime demanded. Unknown, sir. Our sensors show no enemy ships. Captain Lee Minho used the confusion to approach the hegemony flagship. His ship was invisible to their sensors, a ghost moving through space. He docked with their hull and began uploading Dr. Choi's virus into their computer systems. Upload complete, he reported, beginning withdrawal. The virus spread through the hegemony network in seconds. Ship computers began malfunctioning. Weapons turned on friendly vessels. Navigation systems failed. In minutes, the organized fleet became chaos. Sir, our ships are attacking each other, an officer reported to Vox Prime. Manual override. Cut all computer connections. But it was too late. Half the hegemony fleet was disabled or destroyed by their own weapons. The survivors found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't see using tactics they didn't understand. Earth's ghost fleet revealed itself one ship at a time. Human vessels appeared on sensors just long enough to fire, then vanished again. Each attack destroyed or disabled another enemy ship. Colonel Bae Young-soo led the ground assault on hegemony ships that crashed on Earth's surface. His soldiers used tactics the aliens had never encountered: urban warfare, guerrilla strikes, and psychological operations. They're not fighting like any military force we've studied, a captured hegemony officer admitted. They used terrain, stealth, and deception instead of direct assault. Vox Prime watched his fleet fall apart around him. In 6 hours, 47 ships had been reduced to 12. The primitive world had somehow defeated the hegemony's most advanced task force. Send a message to High Command, he ordered. We need reinforcements. This isn't a primitive world, it's a trap. What about the refugees? His aide asked. Forget the refugees. We need to warn the Empire about these humans. Admiral Park watched the surviving hegemony ships retreat into hyperspace. Let them go, he told his fleet commanders. We want them to report back. President Han stood in the command center, surrounded by displays showing the battle's end. 12 hegemony ships destroyed or captured, 0 human casualties. The alien refugees watched in amazement as humanity won its first galactic battle. Ambassador Thek 9 approached the president. Your people fight unlike anyone in the galaxy. We fight to protect what matters to us, Han replied. And that includes people seeking safety from a war they never chose. The hegemony will return in greater numbers. We're counting on it. Intelligence analyst Seo Dong-wook was already detecting communication signals across the galaxy. Word of humanity's victory was spreading. Both the hegemony and Confederation were learning that a new player had entered the Galactic War. Dr. Choi Yoon-ji reviewed battle data in her laboratory. Their technology is advanced but predictable. They've been fighting the same way for centuries. We can beat them. What about when they bring their main fleets? General Yoon asked. Then we show them what 300 years of preparation really means. As Earth's defenders celebrated their first victory, ships across the galaxy began moving toward the small yellow star. The hegemony wanted revenge. The Confederation wanted allies. Other species wanted to know who these humans were and what they wanted. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity had been waiting for this day since they first looked up at the stars and wondered who else was out there. The war that had consumed the galaxy for centuries was about to change forever. Supreme Commander Kek 9 led the largest hegemony fleet ever assembled toward Earth's solar system. 500 warships, including the Empire's newest dreadnoughts, made the journey from the hegemony core worlds. The defeat of Vox Prime's task force had shocked the High Command. Now they would crush this upstart world completely. Intelligence reports? Kek 9 demanded from his flagship's bridge. Limited data, Supreme Commander. The world appears to have hidden defensive installations and stealth ships. Their technology is unknown but effective against our standard weapons. Numbers? Estimated population of 12 billion. Military strength unknown, but they destroyed or disabled 35 of our ships with 0 confirmed losses. Kek 9 had conquered worlds for 60 years. He understood that intelligence failures led to defeats like Vox Primes. This time, the hegemony would use overwhelming force. On Earth, Admiral Park Hyun-woo watched the approaching fleet from his command center. Final count is 500 ships, sir, including 12 super dreadnoughts. President Han reviewed the tactical displays. Our response? Operation Hornet's Nest is ready for deployment. All Ghost Fleet units are in position. Director Kim So-jin entered the command center with new intelligence. Sir, we've made contact with resistance groups throughout hegemony space. The news of our victory is spreading. Some worlds are ready to revolt. What about the Confederation? They're sending their own fleet. Ambassador Thek 9 has convinced them we might be valuable allies. Han nodded. Earth was about to become the center of the Galactic War, but humanity was ready. The hegemony fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. This time they came prepared for anything. Energy shields covered every ship. Long-range sensors swept the system continuously. Fighter squadrons patrolled in all directions. No immediate threats detected, reported the sensor officer. Supreme Commander Kek 9 was not convinced. Begin systematic destruction of all orbital installations. I want this system mapped and cleared before we approach the third planet. Hegemony weapons opened fire on what appeared to be communication satellites and space stations. The installations exploded in bright flashes, satisfying the Supreme Commander that they were eliminating Earth's defenses. Captain Oh Seung-jin watched from his hidden command post as the aliens destroyed decoy targets. They're taking the bait. All units maintained stealth protocols. Earth's real defenses remained invisible. Kinetic weapons platforms hidden in asteroid fields. Stealth ships that moved like shadows between the planets. Automated systems that had learned to mimic space debris. The hegemony fleet advanced slowly, destroying every artificial object they detected. Supreme Commander Kek 9 believed he was methodically eliminating human capabilities. In reality, he was walking into the most elaborate trap in military history. Sir, his aide reported, we're detecting minimal defensive activity. Their resistance appears to have collapsed. Too easy. These humans defeated Vox Prime. They're planning something. Colonel Bae Young-soo waited in the underground command center beneath Seoul. His ground forces were ready for the invasion that would follow orbital bombardment. Unlike galactic military doctrine, humans had no intention of fighting fair. Remember, he told his officers, they've never faced urban warfare. Use the cities. Use the tunnels. Make every street cost them. Engineer Park Min-jae monitored the power systems that fed Earth's hidden defenses. Fusion reactors built deep beneath the continent's powered weapons the hegemony couldn't detect. All systems green. We can maintain full power for months if needed. The trap was ready. Captain Lee Min-ho commanded the lead ship of humanity's Ghost Fleet. The Silent Observer and 50 sister ships surrounded the hegemony formation, invisible to their sensors. Each human vessel carried kinetic weapons that could punch through any known shield. All units report ready, he whispered into his communicator. Target the command ships first. Supreme Commander Kek 9 ordered the final advance. Move to attack position around the third planet. Begin orbital bombardment of all population centers. Show them the price of defying the hegemony. The alien fleet entered the inner solar system, passing between Mars and Earth. They were exactly where humanity wanted them. Execute Hornet's Nest, Admiral Park commanded. The attack began from every direction simultaneously. Hidden weapons platforms throughout the asteroid belt fired kinetic projectiles at near light speed. Ghost ships appeared just long enough to launch their missiles before vanishing again. Automated drones that had posed as space debris came alive and attacked the nearest targets. Where are they coming from? Kek 9 shouted as his sensors registered attacks from impossible directions. Unknown, sir. We're being hit from all vectors. The hegemony fleet had faced many enemies, but never one like this. Human weapons appeared out of nowhere, struck with devastating effect, then disappeared. Traditional formations meant nothing when the enemy could attack from any angle. Dr. Choi Eun-ji activated the second phase of her plan. Deploy the virus swarms, target their command and control systems. Thousands of tiny drones, each smaller than a coin, launched from hidden positions throughout the solar system. They looked like space dust to hegemony sensors, but carried computer viruses designed to cripple alien ship systems. The drones attached themselves to enemy hulls and began uploading their payloads. Within minutes, hegemony ships were experiencing system failures throughout their fleets. Sir, "We're losing communication with half our vessels," reported Keck 9's communications officer. "Switch to backup systems." "The backups are failing too. Something is infecting our networks." Captain O chose this moment to reveal Earth's primary defense stations. Massive weapons platforms that had been hidden behind stealth fields suddenly appeared throughout the system. Each one carried firepower equal to a battleship. All stations open fire. Show them what Earth really looks like when we're angry. Energy beams and kinetic projectiles poured out from dozens of hidden positions. The hegemony fleet, already confused and partially disabled by the computer virus, found itself under attack from enemies they couldn't locate or target effectively. Supreme Commander Keck 9 watched his carefully planned invasion turn into a disaster. In 30 minutes, he had lost over 100 ships. His formation was broken, his communications were compromised, and his enemy remained largely invisible. "Fall back to minimum engagement range," he ordered. "Regroup and assess damage." But Medical Officer Lim Da-un had prepared one more surprise. As the hegemony ships tried to withdraw, they encountered what appeared to be a harmless gas cloud between Mars and Jupiter. "Sir, sensors detect an unusual nebula," the hegemony science officer reported. "Composition unknown. Avoid it." "We have larger problems, but it was too late." The cloud was Dr. Choi's latest creation. Nanoscale machines designed to eat through alien hull materials. Ships that passed through the cloud found their armor dissolving, and their atmospheric systems failing. Hull breaches throughout the fleet. "We're losing structural integrity." General Yoon watched the battle from his command post on Luna Base. The hegemony fleet was in chaos, but they still outnumbered Earth's visible forces. "Time for the final surprise. Signal the Confederation fleet," he ordered. "Tell them it's time." Ambassador Thek 9 had convinced the Confederation military command to send a fleet to Earth. 200 ships dropped out of hyperspace behind the hegemony formation, trapping them between two forces. But these weren't ordinary Confederation vessels. Human engineers had spent the past month upgrading their weapons and shields using Earth's technology. The alien ships now carried kinetic weapons and stealth systems. "This is Admiral Zent 7 of the Confederation fleet," came the signal. "Supreme Commander Keck 9, you are surrounded. Surrender now." Keck 9 found himself caught between two enemies using tactics he didn't understand. His fleet was damaged, confused, and outnumbered. For the first time in his career, he considered retreat. "Sir," his aide whispered, "we should withdraw. We can regroup and return with more ships." "No. The High Command expects victory. Continue the attack." Intelligence analyst Seo Dong-wook monitored communications throughout the galaxy. "Sir, we're detecting revolts in 3 hegemony sectors. News of this battle is encouraging resistance movements across their territory." Director Kim smiled. "Phase 3 of the plan. While they're fighting us, their empire is falling apart behind them." The battle continued for 6 more hours. Human ghost ships struck and faded like phantoms. Confederation vessels, enhanced with Earth technology, proved far more effective than their previous encounters with hegemony forces. By the end, Supreme Commander Keck 9's fleet of 500 ships was reduced to less than 50 functional vessels. He finally gave the order to retreat, but humanity wasn't finished. "Let most of them go," Admiral Park ordered. "But capture their flagship." "We need prisoners." Captain Lee Min-ho's ship disabled Keck 9's engines with surgical precision. The hegemony Supreme Commander found himself a prisoner on an alien world he had intended to conquer. President Han stood in the detention center, looking at the defeated alien officer through reinforced glass. Keck 9 was twice the size of a human with natural armor and claws designed for combat. "You cannot win," he told her. "The hegemony has thousands of worlds, millions of ships. We will return." "I'm counting on it," Han replied. "But next time, you'll find more than just Earth waiting for you." The end 6 months after humanity's second victory over the hegemony, the galaxy was in chaos. Resistance movements had overthrown hegemony governors on 37 worlds. The Confederation military, enhanced with human technology, had reclaimed 12 star systems. Both galactic powers were desperate for allies. Ambassador Thek 9 stood in the United Nations building in New York, addressing President Han and her cabinet. The insect-like diplomat had become Earth's primary link to galactic civilization. "The Confederation Council formally requests a military alliance with Earth," Thek 9 announced. "We offer full membership in our government, access to our trade networks, and shared technology agreements." Before Han could respond, Her aide brought news of another visitor. Madam President, there's a hegemony diplomatic vessel requesting permission to enter the solar system. Hegemony? General Yoon looked surprised. They want to negotiate? Apparently. The ship is broadcasting diplomatic immunity codes and requesting safe passage. Han made her decision. Grant permission. Escort them to Luna Base under heavy guard. The hegemony diplomat was Sub-Commander Zek 7, one of the few survivors from Supreme Commander Kek 9's defeated fleet. Unlike his former commander's arrogance, Zek 7 approached Earth with obvious respect for human military capabilities. President Han, he said through his translator, the Hegemony High Command recognizes that your people are formidable warriors. We wish to discuss terms for an alliance. After you tried to destroy us twice, war makes enemies. Peace makes allies. The Hegemony offers Earth valuable resources, advanced technology, trade agreements, and territorial concessions. Join us, and your species will rule alongside ours. Director Kim So-jin had been analyzing intelligence reports while the diplomats talked. She entered the meeting room with data that would change everything. Madam President, our sources throughout the galaxy confirm what we suspected. Both powers are collapsing. The war has consumed their economies, their militaries, and their political systems. She displayed holographic charts showing the true state of galactic civilization. Hegemony tax revenues have fallen 60% in the last year. Their outer colonies are declaring independence. The Confederation has lost control of their supply lines. Both militaries are deserting in massive numbers. Intelligence analyst SEO Dong-wook added more details. Sir, we're detecting private communications between Hegemony and Confederation commanders. Many want to end the war but don't know how without losing face. Han studied the data. 3 centuries of watching the Galactic War had taught humanity something the combatants had forgotten. Wars end when people stop fighting, not when governments declare victory. What do our people think? She asked. Dr. Choi Yun-ji spoke from her position at the science station. Our analysis shows both galactic powers have technology we could use. But their military doctrines are outdated and their societies are exhausted. We don't need them as much as they need us, meaning, we have a third option. Engineer Park Min-jae had been working on projects that went far beyond military technology. His teams had developed solutions to problems that had plagued galactic civilization for centuries. Efficient food production, clean energy generation, and medical treatments that worked across species lines. We could help them rebuild, he suggested, but on our terms. Medical officer Lim Da-eun had been treating hegemony prisoners and Confederation refugees for months. Sir, I've learned something important. The bioweapons, the environmental destruction, the resource wars, they're symptoms of a larger problem. Both sides are running out of habitable worlds. How many systems can support life? Han asked. In the entire galaxy? Maybe 10,000 worlds out of billions of stars. Both powers have been fighting over the same limited resources for centuries. Han looked at Ambassador Thek 9 and Sub-Commander Zek 7. Both aliens waited for her decision, not knowing she was about to make an offer that neither of them expected. Gentlemen, she said, Earth rejects both of your proposals. The aliens looked shocked. Thek 9's compound eyes widened. You refuse our alliance? We refuse your war, Han clarified. Instead, we offer you something better, peace. Peace? Zek 7 seemed confused. The hegemony and Confederation cannot coexist. We have been enemies for too long. Because you've been fighting over scraps when there's abundance if you work together. Admiral Park entered the room with tactical displays that showed human fleet movements throughout the galaxy. While you've been negotiating, we've been demonstrating. The displays showed simultaneous human operations in 12 different star systems. Military bases belonging to both powers had been attacked and neutralized by Earth's expanding Ghost Fleet. In the past week, Park explained, human forces have disabled weapons platforms, supply depots, and command centers belonging to both the Hegemony and Confederation. We did this without killing a single person. Impossible, Zek 7 protested. Our defenses are impregnable. Your defenses are designed to fight each other, not us. We've proven we can strike anywhere in the galaxy whenever we choose. Captain Lee Min-ho appeared on a communication screen from his ship near the galactic core. Sir, Operation Clean Slate is complete. All major military installations in target sectors have been neutralized. No casualties, minimal property damage. Han turned back to the alien diplomats. We've also deployed medical teams to refugee camps throughout the galaxy. Dr. Lim's people are treating victims of bioweapons, starvation, and war injuries. We're doing this for free. Why? Ambassador Thek-9 asked. What do humans gain from helping war refugees? The same thing we gain from stopping a senseless war that has killed trillions of beings over 3 centuries. A galaxy where our children can grow up safely. Sub-Commander Zek-7 studied the tactical displays. You've proven you can defeat both our militaries. Why not simply conquer us? Because conquest doesn't solve the underlying problems. You need more habitable worlds, better resource distribution, and governments that serve their people instead of feeding the war machine. Engineer Park activated another set of displays. We've developed terraforming technology that can turn marginal worlds into garden planets. We can increase food production by 1,000%. We can provide clean energy that doesn't require strip mining entire moons. At what cost? Zek-7 asked suspiciously. The cost is peace, real peace, not just a temporary ceasefire while you rearm for the next war. President Han stood and addressed both aliens directly. Here are Earth's terms. Both the Hegemony and Confederation will order immediate ceasefires. All bioweapons will be surrendered to human forces for destruction. Refugee populations will be resettled on worlds we help you terraform. War criminals from both sides will face trial in neutral courts. And if we refuse? Ambassador Thek-9 asked. Admiral Park smiled. Then we'll make the decision for you. The displays showed the true extent of human capabilities. Ghost fleets positioned near every major population center. Stealth stations that could cut communication lines throughout galactic space. Computer viruses that could shut down entire planetary defense grids. You've been fighting each other for so long that you forgot the most important rule of warfare, Han explained. The strongest position is not having to fight at all. Director Kim added the final piece of information. Our intelligence networks have made contact with civilian leaders throughout both territories. Population surveys show 73% of Hegemony citizens and 81% of Confederation citizens want the war to end immediately. Your own people want peace, Han pointed out. We're just giving them a way to get it without their governments losing face. Sub-Commander Zek-7 was quiet for several minutes, processing what he had heard. The Hegemony High Command will never agree to surrender their bioweapons. They don't have a choice, Dr. Choi said from her station. We've already neutralized their production facilities. The weapons no longer exist to surrender. Ambassador Thek-9 asked the obvious question. What happens after the ceasefire? How do we prevent future wars? We build something better, Han replied. A galactic council where disputes are resolved through negotiation, not warfare. Trade networks that benefit everyone. Scientific cooperation that solves problems instead of creating weapons. Medical Officer Lim added, We've already begun treating the psychological trauma caused by 3 centuries of war. Entire generations have known nothing but conflict. They need to learn how to live in peace. The meeting continued for hours. Both alien diplomats sent encrypted messages to their governments while human negotiators outlined detailed plans for galactic reconstruction. Finally, Sub-Commander Zek-7 spoke. I will recommend that the Hegemony accept your terms. But I must ask, why do humans care what happens to the rest of the galaxy? President Han looked out the window at Earth's blue sky and thought of the refugee children playing in the camps on Luna Base. Because isolation only works until someone knocks on your door. When they knocked on ours, we discovered that the galaxy is full of people worth protecting. Even your enemies, especially our enemies. Peace isn't about defeating your opponents. It's about turning them into partners. 3 days later, both the Hegemony High Command and the Confederation Council agreed to Earth's terms. The galactic war that had raged for 3